Today I'm going to be working on a 2002 MR2 Spider. The truth. Alright, today is the day we're going to do the axles on the MR2. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to be doing the same thing on both sides. What we're going to go ahead and do first, after the car's off the ground, we're going to take these wheels off. Alright, now we're going to take off our axle nut. The stock one is a 30 millimeter. Just like that. Now, next thing you're going to want to do is take out these two bolts for your coilover. And I'm going to be taking out the bolt for the sway bar end link right here. Now on mine, I'm also going to be taking off these three bars, 1, 2, and 3. For two different reasons. One, for ease of access, getting this whole assembly off so I can get to the axle. And two, I'm going to be replacing all three of those with some aftermarket ones that are fully adjustable. So just be aware that you don't per se have to take off those three, but you will see them off in my video for that reason. Now on the driver's side, I already have the CV shaft taken out from the brake caliper. Where it meets up in here, I do have that leaking seal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain the transmission of all the fluid. That way when I pop this seal out, I don't have a bunch of fluid pouring all over me as I'm working. So let's go ahead and pop that drain really quick. Alright, this guy up here is a 24 millimeter. Go ahead and put your drain plug back in too before you forget. And tighten it up with that 24. Now I can't take full credit for this because I did see it on somebody else's video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use like a bungee cord. And I'm going to suspend the axle. I'm just going to hang it to my coilovers up here. Be sure not to stab anything that may be important. But that way when we knock it out of the socket, it doesn't go slamming down on the ground. So after I had dislodged the side that goes in the brake, this thing started leaking and it made a decent little puddle on the ground. So, good thing I'm replacing both of them. Alright, so I'm using a screwdriver and a hammer to try and pop it out of its little socket. There's a little ring that holds it into place. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. The driver's side has this little ring that we have to get past. So that's what we're going to be popping out. And there it goes. Now we can take our bungee off and pull it all the way out. So I bought this thing a few years back, and it's a seal puller. I meant to use it on some project I was doing, never got around to it, so it's still in the packaging. But today we're finally going to use it. This is the part number if you want to find the tool on Amazon or whatever. So next, we're going to get up in here and we're going to be taking that seal right out of there. Well, it took a lot of fighting, but I finally got that guy out of there. This die does work very well. You just have to really wrench on it, like really hard. But we're going to clean up that really quick, and then we're going to put our new seal in. The flange side sticks outwards, so we're just going to tap it in nice and gently when we do get it up in that area. This is the part number for the new seal that goes in the transmission. Alright, now if you have a big enough socket, when you go to install this, you can just put the socket over it and just going to tap the socket. But I don't have one that size, so what I'm going to use is actually the old O-ring. Just gonna fit it over top of this guy. And then as I'm driving it in, I can beat this one and not worry about getting this one damaged. It does look kind of nasty, obviously. It's been in there for a good while, and it kind of came apart a bit when I was taking it out. But you're gonna want to send this thing nice and even. Don't send it in all cockeyed like this, because it'll screw up your seal. So we're just gonna go around. I'm just gonna lightly tap it with a hammer all the way around and just gonna work it into place. All right, now that we get the mating surface clean, let's go ahead and get our new seal in place. Alright, once we got it seated all the way in place, we're going to go ahead and insert our axle. Alright, now that we picked up our CV axles, let's go put them on the car. And this one is the part number for the CV shaft on the driver's side. So I was just about to start installing the new CV axle, and everything looks good so far. Until you get down to about here, and then you can start to see it. These are two different lengths. So I've got to take this one back to the auto parts store, and I'm going to bring the old one with me just to kind of match it up. But yeah, they are definitely not the same. I had them looking it up for an MR2 Spider, but yeah, I have a bit of a difference here. So I'll be back. So I'm a bit of an idiot. I thought they were different lengths because this one looks a lot longer than the new one, but I didn't realize how disengaged all that was. So when you push the CV back together, they come out to be the same length. So let's go ahead and get this new one installed on the car. There's a really quick side-by-side with the old one and the new one. New one's obviously a lot better shape. The boots are brand new. All the grease is still inside there, so we're good to go on that. This one, obviously, it ruptured right up there where it meets the transmission when we were getting it out. So there's just nasty, grimy junk everywhere coming out of this thing. But yeah, let's go get this new one put in the car. Something I want to do before I install it is take our nut and actually turn it around and twist it on this way. And we're going to twist it all the way down until this side is flush with the end of the shaft. So that way when we tap it in, it gives us a nice big flat surface to hit against. Just like that. Now, nice and easy, we're just going to guide the shaft into place. There she goes. Okay, angle it down just a smidge. Now, once that side is inserted, it's going to catch in that little retaining pin. So we're going to have to tap it from this side with our hammer to get it to lodge all the way in over there. You'll definitely feel a difference. You'll be hitting it, and all of a sudden it'll the hitting will be different. I don't know how to explain it best, but to do it yourself. But you'll hit it, and then the actual feel of the hit on this end will feel different. And that's when the retaining clip went all the way in. And then we're also going to test it just by giving it a quick tug, make sure it's not going to pop back out. Alright, now we're just going to grab right here by the collar, give it a quick tug. Yep, it's not going anywhere. So it's seated all the way in there. Alright, now we're going to take our axle nut off so we can run it through our brake caliper here. Alright, did have to have a second set of hands. I was pulling on the brake and they were aligning the shaft. But we got it in. So we're going to go ahead and put our spindle nut or axle nut back on. And we're going to tighten that guy up, and then we're going to torque it down to 170 foot-pounds. Alright, once you get it torqued down, we're going to take a little chisel, and we're just going to notch this nut right here at the guide area. Or if you have a like a cotter pin, you're just going to kind of fix the cotter pin so it doesn't come off. Yeah, just kind of indent it enough, that way this thing won't back out on its own. This is the part number for the CV shaft on the passenger side. Now, just like on the driver's side, I'm going to suspend it with this bungee cord wrapped around my coil over there, just so when I start knocking it loose back this way, this whole end doesn't drop all the way down. Alright, next I'm going to be taking off these two 14mm bolts right here. They should separate this guy who's mounted to the actual engine block itself from this ring. When we beat this shaft off, it will separate this ring from this collar right here, and then we're removing this ring after we get the whole shaft off. I did end up putting on gloves because I cut my hand earlier and I really don't want grease and grime in my cut, so if you see a change in the video, that's why. Alright, now we can take our hammer and probably like one of our pry bars. I'm going to put it about right here. I'm just going to start hitting it that way to dislodge this guy up out of here. It's going to have a little ring on it. I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. Alright, here's a quick side-by-side with our old one and our new one. Obviously, if you can see this one, it's still got this collar on it, so we're going to have to hit that off. I have to figure out which way it's going to go. Probably going to go that way, easier, just so we can slide it all the way down the shaft and get it off the tip. So that'll be a pain in the butt in itself. What I'll probably do is... Oh, sorry for my sniffles. So what I'll probably do is maybe have somebody hold it on this end. I'll just take a mallet and just kind of work it around and try and pop this guy loose. Probably hit it with some penetrating oil on both sides, just kind of loosen up any kind of rust that may have formed in there as well. So let's get started on that. Cut the boot, and I just pulled this guy right out. That way it's a bit more manageable, so let's see if we can get it out of there. Alright, so this is really hard to record while I was doing it, but it's got this locking ring on the inside down here. Mine did not have any little tabs that like poke up like this. So what I had to do was use a combination of picks and screwdrivers and stuff and get up underneath of it and then pry it out. And right now I just got to pop it all the way off this collar. That way this collar can start to slide down that way once we get it loose. Alright, now our little ring's off. Let's get this collar off of the shaft. Alright, now that the collar and the ring are both off, I'm going to clean them both up with some very fine sandpaper, just some like emery cloth. Clean up the inside in here, and then clean up the ring all around. But the ring does sit right inside here. There's this little lip. And that's where our ring sits, and it just kind of locks this collar in place. So, just for reference whenever we go put it back together. Alright, that's about as good as I'm going to get it. So let's go ahead and get it on our new shaft, and then we'll throw some grease on the shaft side and on the inner side here, just so they slide together nice and easy. Thing I noticed was this little pin right here faces towards where the transmission would be. So on our shaft, it'll focus. on our shaft, this little pin will face that way. Now this guy's all greased up. It's gonna get this collar down on here. We're gonna try and keep it relatively level as we just tap it with the hammer. Alright, now we're gonna take our ring and we're gonna slide it right onto the shaft down here. So you probably have to pry it open a bit. I don't know if I can do it with the camera right in my way, but we're gonna get this over this shaft. Now you could have stuck it on there first before putting this collar on, but of course I didn't think about it till now. So I'm gonna have to get it up over this shaft and onto here, and then we'll start working on getting it locked into place around the collar here. Now, my favorite part, getting this little lock ring to lock into the groove down here. I suggest start with one end. Ooh, if it'll focus. Suggest starting with one end and just kind of work your way around, get it all the way locked into place. You may need another set of hands to help you out with this. Just depends how good you are. I wish these ones had the little tweezers, like the tabs that stick up, so you could just grab it with a pair of pliers, set it into place and let go, but fortunately, not this style, so I just gotta fight with it. Well, that was definitely a pain getting this lock ring back into place in here. What I did is I started with the one corner and just kind of worked my way around and then used a screwdriver to kind of pry down on it against like this side. Just kind of force this guy all the way down through while using my thumb to just kind of keep it in place as I went around. I did take another set of hands just to hold the shaft steady because I had it pointed straight up. But eventually did get it. It's a pain. I wish I had the ones where I could use like the pliers, kind of squeeze it, set it into place and let it go, but unfortunately mine isn't like that. So hopefully yours is, and you don't have to go through the same struggles that I do. But let's go ahead and get this guy back in the car. Remember, it's gonna go through this ring to go into the transmission back there. So just make sure you line it up when you're sticking it through. Do make sure the pin fits in the little slot up here, and this seats right up against this collar. Now we're going to go ahead and put our two 14mm bolts and torque them down. Go ahead and take this nut off the end of your CV shaft. Just kind of set it aside for right now. After I threw some grease on the shaft down here, I'm going to be running it through the back of the brake caliper out through the front. There we go. Now we can throw our nut back on the face of this guy. Go ahead and torque it down as well. If you're using one of these bungees like me, don't forget to take it out of the car. The same as the other side, once this nut is torqued down, we're going to go ahead and hit it with a little chisel or a big screwdriver, whatever you have. And we're going to indent this nut where the little cutaway is, like a little keyway there. Also, if you have like a cotter pin style, you can just run a cotter pin through it and then it kind of secures it, but mine doesn't have that, so we're doing this instead. Just like that, this nut won't be coming off anytime soon. Now, you can either reattach your strut assembly and your sway bar if you took it off that way, or you can put back in all your lower control arms like I'm about to do. Now if you're like me and you had to drain your transmission, you're going to want to go ahead and refill it. So right down here, you got a little 12 millimeter. Oh, if I can pop it open. Ah, there it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this bolt right here. All right, then using a pair of pliers, we're just going to grab onto it right there, kind of wiggle it and pull up at the same time. You don't want to get under there with a screwdriver and try and pry because you will break it. There we go. Let's just set that guy aside really quick. Now I like to use my longest funnel I've got. Just kind of stick it down in there. And then I'm going to be using some of this royal purple. It's going to take 2 quarts of this stuff to fill up your transmission. Now the royal purple, even on their website, says it can be used for a GL4 or a GL5 transmission fluid. But like this one, it specifically says it's a GL5. Don't use this one. Try and use a GL4 or something that is compatible like the royal purple is. All right, and there we go. Let's get our funnel out of the way and we're gonna go ahead and seal this up. And don't forget to put the top back on. Right down in there. And we're gonna put our bolt in as well and just kind of snug it up with our ratchet. Once you get your wheels all torqued up, you can go ahead and drop the vehicle back on the ground and you're good to go. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section below and I'll try and answer them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed any of the background music that's in any of these videos, check out the artist's SoundCloud. I put a link in the description.